a sales conversation, who should be leading the direction of the conversation? Should it be the client or should it be the salesperson? Well, obviously it should be the salesperson, but that's not how it always works. And particularly here in Japan, that's often the case. Hi, my name is Greg Story. I'm the president of Dale Carnegie Training here in Japan. We teach a lot of salespeople how to do sales here in Japan, and we find some very, very common issues and problems that come up, and we've developed a number of solutions for those particular issues. Today I want to talk about this particular issue of who's in control of the sales conversation. Japan is not bad on building up rapport with clients when they initially meet them. Often they're working off a big brand name that they have because their company is very large and it's well known, and it's easy therefore to have some credibility. If it's a smaller company though that you're representing, you don't have that advantage. So you've got to know how to build trust very quickly. We know in sales we say know, like and trust are critical issues. Well, is that the case? Are you able to build that trust very, very quickly? Are you able to establish some credibility with a client very, very quickly? Often people don't have a good sense of how to do that. They don't have good structure for that, and so they struggle a bit. So if there's no trust, then there's not going to be a sale. If there's no credibility, there's not going to be a sale. So those first impressions, building those first impressions are really vital in the sales call. If you manage to get through this initial trust building, credibility building component, now what happens? Well, often in untrained salespeople, what happens is the client basically says, okay, give me a pitch. Now in Japan, that's not an invitation to sell me. That is an invitation for me as the buyer to riddle your sales presentation full of holes and put up a monstrous number of objections to everything you've said, and then sit back and wait for you to dispel all of these hesitations, problems, concerns that I, as the buyer, have. Bad, bad, bad situation right there. Anytime I've been in a sales call in Japan and I get forced, and I have to tell you, I have to be forced to do that pitch, I know, well, Greg, time to drink up your green tea here and head out the door, because this sales conversation is not going to go anywhere where it should be going. It's going to be a complete failure, and usually that's exactly the case because I haven't understood what the client wants. But this is the problem. Salespeople who don't have a proper structure, proper process, get led around by the client who doesn't actually have any game plan about buying. Their game plan in Japan is about reducing risk. They're risk averse. They want to be sure that they're not going to have any problems. So they're trying to find out all the holes in what you're saying. So they invite you to say lots of stuff so then they can get out the shotgun, put in the pellets, bang, and start shooting you full of holes. What would be much better is if we had a means to have a questioning system with permission to ask those questions. In Japan, that is very critical. We've got to get permission first and then go through a process of really uncovering the client needs. Now in Japan, if you start going into asking forensic style questions very early, we've just met the person, or if maybe this is your second meeting, you met them at a networking event or something, but this is your first real business meeting, and you're drilling down hard on knowing all about their company, all about their problems. Well, you know, maybe they're like, no, don't know you, not sure I really want to tell you any of this. So you have to get permission to be able to ask the questions to know if actually you can serve them or not. Because sometimes maybe you can't, and if you can't serve them, then don't waste anybody's time, including your own. Leave that client very politely and go and find a buyer somewhere else. But often salespeople, they got the square peg and they're trying to bang it into the round hole here regardless because they've got to get a sale, where they're not using their time effectively because they don't know really what they're looking for, because they haven't uncovered the client needs. So we build up that trust and credibility, we get permission to ask questions. Now we go into a questioning stage. Now a lot of salespeople don't ask very good questions. They don't design their questions. They don't know how to design their questions. They don't get deep enough on the real client needs. You know, it's like the typical iceberg, you know, what we see above the waterline is only a small part of the total iceberg. Well, often poor questioning only gets you the tip of the iceberg. You really got to know underneath what's going on. That requires structure. If you've got a good structure, then you can take the client through a questioning model that'll really help you to understand what the needs are. And once you understand what the needs are, then you can present the right solution. But if you don't do that, if you don't know what the needs are, and you start presenting a solution, how do you know that's actually what they want? And probably it isn't what they want. You might start talking about your wonderful colour pink and all the shades of pink and the variations of pink and how gorgeous your pink is. But in fact, if you've done a bit of a better job in the questioning stage, you found out they're actually after blue. So you're waxing lyrical about fantastic pink, they want to hear about blue. Big problem right there. So the questioning model is to really understand, should I be talking about pink or should I be talking about blue? If you've done that and you just go, oh, they need to know about blue, then when you present your solution, it's all about blue. And it's about the interesting parts of blue that they flag with you, that were important to them. And not everything about blue, just those things that are really important to them about blue. But often salespeople don't do that. And in the solution provision stage, wow, I'm a buyer of services and products here in Japan. How many times, and it's almost like 100%, honestly, salespeople are talking to me, and what am I getting? I'm getting a features presentation. Here's the features of this particular solution. Now, where's the benefit? Where's the benefit to me? Where's the linkage between what I've told you in the questioning stage about what I want and need and the particular pinpoint benefits that this particular solution has to match up with my need? Often, Japanese salespeople particularly don't understand that. They're just talking about the features all the time, thinking this is going to be enough. I don't buy features. I buy benefits. In fact, I don't even buy benefits. I buy the application of the benefits in my business. And you know what? I'd like to have some evidence. Like, you're a salesperson, you know, you're probably good at talking to people because you've been in this job for a while. But I've only, you know, met you a few times, or maybe this is only the second time, and you're talking a big game here. You know, you're talking a big game here about what you can do. Maybe I'd like to have a little bit of proof, a bit of evidence around what you say. So features, benefit, application of the benefit, supply some evidence around what that client really needs to know to believe what you're saying is true. And then a trial close. We go to a trial close to see if we've actually dealt properly with presenting our solution to the buyer so that they feel calm and confident that they can continue. And in that asking of the trial question, this is where we start to draw out any concerns they might have. That's very important. That's very important. Now, in Japan, buyers aren't that cooperative. They aren't that helpful. They're like, oh yeah, let me tell you all the things I'm worried about. They're sitting back. They're used to being pitched. Now, they're giving you permission to ask questions. That's a bit strange. Yeah, okay. Now, you're telling me about this solution. Oh, yeah, okay. I've probably got some concerns, but maybe they're not going to voice any of those concerns. You've got to know how to set that up. You've got to know how to get them to actually tell you if they have concerns. And often, iceberg analogy again, they're only telling you the surface issues, only the surface hesitations. The real one, they're sort of keeping back. Now, you know yourself. You do that. You do that in a retail shopping environment. You go into the boutique or you go into the shop and the salesperson asks you if they can help you, ask you any questions. And what do you say? Just looking, I'm good, no, I'm fine. You don't tell them much because you think, oh, if I tell them, I'm going to get into a conversation, I have to buy something. I don't want to buy something, I just want to look. I'm not sure I want to buy anything. I don't want any pressure. Everyone's the same. So the person who's representing the company as the buyer, or it's their own business, is thinking, well, I don't want to get into a big sales talk here. I just want to hear what they're doing. I'll make up my mind later. But that's no good because later is not on your schedule. It's on the buyer's schedule, but not on your schedule because you've got to close a deal. You've got to make business happen. You've got to get the sale. Now, you may not get it in this one meeting, but you've got to get that thing moving along. Otherwise, nothing ever happens. So they're not on your timeline. There's no pressure on them to do anything. So you have to be convincing, you have to be appealing to them to think this is in their best interest, this is going to help them build their business, this will be great for them by providing the solution in such a way that they feel, oh great, we really need this now. This is going to help us right now. So your ability to flag any potential concerns, hesitations, problems, objections they might have, very, very important, and then to dig deeper. Don't just go for the top of the iceberg. We've got to have a structure that takes us deeper. And that's how you find out what the real issues are. Once you find out the real issues, you realize, oh, this is a deal breaker, we can't do that. Game over, find the next buyer. Or you realise, oh yeah, okay, that's not a problem, we can deal with that. Oh yeah, we have a solution for that. Yeah, no, that's fine. That will be okay. I will be able to explain why that's not going to be a problem to their complete satisfaction. And once we've actually uncovered the real need, we address that. Now, they might have a number of objections, but I'll guarantee you there's only a couple which are really, really critical. Don't worry about the minor objections. Once you've uncovered the biggest objection, go straight in and deal with that, because if you deal with that, everything else falls away and it's no longer a problem. But you've got to know which is which. So how do you do that? Well, you need a structure to find that out. And having found that out, then you deal with it. You deal with the hesitations, concern, objections, completely to their satisfaction, and then you ask for the order. Now that sounds simple enough, but all around the world, salespeople don't ask for the order in droves. Why would that be? They can't deal with the rejection. They're scared of no. It's linked to their emotional stability. It's linked to their personal feeling about themselves and their confidence and their drive to keep going in sales, which is tough, tough, tough. Well, sales, it's a roller coaster. It's elation and depression, elation, depression, over and over and over again. Repeat, repeat, repeat. That's how it is. Because not every sales call is a success. So you're going to get rejected, you're going to fail, you're not going to make every sale. But it's not about you. It's not about you personally. Don't take it personally. It's no today, but it might be yes in 6 months' time. It's no today because of the market cycle. Market cycles change. It's no today because of conditions in the company. Company conditions change. It's no today because of the way the deal's structured. Deals can be restructured. It's no today on the pricing. Their budget may improve and they may be able to afford it. Budgets, you know what? They're just a little cell in a P&L, profit and loss statement, just a little cell there. You know what? You can move the money from that cell and put it in another cell. It's that easy if you're the decision maker. So that when I hear no budget, I never say, oh, they don't have any money. I just say to myself, great, I've got to get the money out of that cell into the cell that I need it to appear in so they can make a really wise purchase, take our solution and help their business grow. That's how you've got to be thinking, so you don't take it personally. And yes, you go ask for the order. How do you ask for the order? Now some people make this a very big deal. I've got to have these super duper, get them in a headlock, closing techniques, killer closing techniques. No, you don't. It can be very, very easy. It's not complex. You ask them very simply, how does that sound? Would you like to go ahead? Shall I book it now, or would you like to book it for a little bit later? There's a number of very soft ways of asking for the order, not hard sell. No one likes hard sell. Nobody. Everyone prefers to have a conversation that's very easygoing and everyone's comfortable and don't feel any pressure from the buying side that you've got to buy this thing because the salesperson's push. No. Soft. And then they don't feel stressed, they don't feel pressure, they feel they're being invited to make a really good decision. And then they say yes or no. Well, they say they're going to think about it. And that's fine. Now, in a lot of countries, oh, no, you can't let them say, oh, think about it. You've got to close them on the spot. Well, maybe in some cultures that's true. Not here in Japan. They do have to think about it. Because in Japan, there's a lot of multi-facets in the decision-making process. And other people in different sections will have to give a stamp of approval, what we call the ringi system in big companies, where something that's being proposed goes right around all the affected groups and they all put their hunk or their stamp on it saying, I agree. So that's quite convoluted. Or it might be they need to check with headquarters if they're a multinational on certain things before they do it. So that's got to go to headquarters and come back. Or it might be they need to do some nemawashi in Japanese. Nemawashi, groundwork is a good translation, but it's nemawashi is the binding of the roots of a tree. When they transplant trees in Japan, Japan's amazing. They can transplant these monstrously big trees by they cut the roots and they bind them, and they pick the whole thing up in this big container of earth and they move it from one place and plonk it down another place and the tree's growing. It's just incredible. But Japanese take that word nemawashi, root binding, as a preparatory stage, as a groundwork stage. So they need to do groundwork inside the company. The person you're talking to is your champion. They want to buy, they want to help their business, they want to help their section, but they've got to get other people. Maybe it's a CFO, maybe it's the CEO, maybe it's the board, who knows? But they may have to get someone else to agree. They need time. So, I've got to crunch the deal out now. No, you don't. You've got to give them the ability, and you've got to give them the words to make that sale. You've got to help them to make that sale internally. And you've got to follow up. You've got to follow up, because nothing happens in a hurry in this country. Nothing. No one's in an urgent need to buy anything, normally. Okay? So they've got plenty of time, but they're not on your timeline. You'd like to see that timeline fairly compact, I think. So why don't we make sure that we do follow up? All of this is doable. It's also not the case for most salespeople. They don't have that process. Why? Well, they got taught sales from their boss. Now in Japan, sadly, most sales managers are pretty mediocre. They're pretty mediocre. And guess what? Their bosses, when they learned how to sell, were pretty mediocre too. And you start going back generation after generation, it's mediocrity headquarters here. Well, that's not how you learn to sell as a professional. You need proper skills. Now, we have many, many solutions around selling. We have a really fantastic 3-day program called Sales Advantage. We have another program, Sales Presentation Skills, also great. And we have a shorter program, 2-day program called Sales Power. Now, the 3-day program, fantastic, but in some companies' cases, in some salespeople cases, they say, you know what, I can't get to do the 8 weeks of this course if it's time spaced over 8 weeks, or I can't get the 3 days, just the scheduling is difficult. Could you compact it a bit into 2 days? So we have. We listen to our clients, we listen to our customers, so we've compacted this, what is an 8-week weekly program or immersion style 3-day program, into a more refined 2-day program for people who don't have a lot of time. Very comprehensive, very comprehensive. How to build rapport properly, build that trust, build that credibility. How to dig deep, really understand the needs, real needs, not the service needs, the real needs of the client. How to properly present your solution so it absolutely matches what the needs are. How to deal with any hesitation, concerns, objections, so they're very comfortable, risk aversion here, very comfortable with the buying decision, and then ask for the order. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Well, if you've got structures, if you've got good coaching, it is simple, you can learn it, and I really hope that Japan will become much more professional in sales than it is today, and have people learn how to do it properly. So, come and join us for Sales Power. If you're the boss, and you've got sales team members who are Japanese, and they're selling in Japan in Japanese, naturally, then this is the program we offer. It's in Japanese, everything Japanese trainers, Japanese cultural context, Japanese linguistics, and by that I mean what we say in sales is really important. If you're training your Japanese staff in English to sell in Japanese to Japanese buyers, stop that right now. That is a flawed proposition. What we say in sales matters. It has to be in Japanese. The role play has to be practiced in Japanese. Semantics matter in sales. Don't think you can coach them in English to sell in Japanese. You just can't. Well, you can, but it's hopeless. It's pointless. You may as well all go back to work and do something more effective, because that isn't going to work. We're doing it in Japanese for that Japanese team. This will be highly effective for you. So if you'd like to know how to do that, look for the details on our website. We tell you all about Sales Power. Great way to spend 2 days to take your team from here right up to here.